Welcome to another episode of Ask Infinity. I am your host, Jordan Lindo, as per usual. And today's Infinity is Katie Pushy. Katie, hello.
Hi, Jordan. Let's get infinitely excited and let's see what happens.
Okay, so Katie, you're one of the people that I would like to intro, but you're so wildly expansive that I don't know if I can even find the words with my infinite vocabulary. So can you, for our viewers just and listeners, can you just give us a little taste of what you're up to creatively and otherwise, so we can kind of get a taste of who you are and what you're up to?
Sure. I am an artist, writing, dancing. That's what fuels me. Even the art of socializing. I love going to gatherings and just feeling the circuitry of the room and the pulse of where there's excitement and where there's stagnation and moving the energy around. I love hosting. I'm everything from the host to facilitator at times and even just welcoming people. And then 9 to 5 job is professional coaching, consulting on from health to nutrition to business. I've studied many different arenas of life. I call myself an all-inclusive coach so that I can really keep a pulse on people's health, mentally, emotionally, physically, and then their professional growth. It's really about what is our vocation in life and vacation. We got to enjoy vacation. I really love enjoying life. That's what it's about for me, having a lot of fun. So when I'm coaching someone, it's okay, you want to make more money so you can have more fun. Okay, you want to have great health and a great body so you can have more fun. You want to make things better in your romantic life and your family life so you can have more fun. What do you enjoy? So we're here to enjoy on this earth, even when we're going through challenges. There's even pleasure in discomfort, and there's little moments of joy that can be expressed through discovering our artistic abilities. So I've learned a lot about life from a young age: meditation, yoga, going really deep into occult manifestation techniques, and also experiencing very deep lows of life to the point of not even wanting to be in my body because of immense pain and suffering that I was feeling.
Okay, stop right there, because
There's so
you're
much.
like segueing into exactly what I was about to ask you next. I'm like, you see, I love how tapped in you are, but that was my next question. I was gonna say, usually,
Yes.
coaches, leaders, um, entrepreneurs, even have an interesting story, because to be in that position, you have to have wisdom, which comes from experience. So I'm just curious to know, like, what were some of the experiences that shaped you to be the type of leader or entrepreneur or creative that you are today? Because you're very unique.
Thank you. I believe in past lives. So I believe I've had a lot of lifetimes where I've been in different fields. And I think in this life, they all came out from my awakenings when I was young and just feeling very different from my classmates. And I started running in the forest. I started going off on my own. I started doing a lot of writing and self-reflection. And with that came this feeling of being so different and also not wanting to be in my body at times because I was just feeling suffering from my family unit, not feeling fully understood. And my imagination was very wild. So it was hard for me to focus in class and do well in school, but feeling pressure to go to higher education, university, which I did, and struggling there. And I studied food and nutrition in school to be a dietitian, but the main class that I loved the most, and out of those 4 years, was creative writing, this elective that I took. And that's where I found ways to figure out this pain that I was feeling. I'm a very empathic person, and I realized that most often I'm feeling this collective energy through me. Um, So a lot of my personal struggles were in feeling very different, not feeling like I belonged, feeling misunderstood, and feeling very socially awkward. And then really just being like, okay, why am I here on this planet from a very, very young age? Which I believe every time we ask infinity, essentially, we get answers. So I'm grateful for having these moments of feeling very different and feeling a lot of pain when I was young, because they initiated me into thinking in more advanced ways from a young age.
Wow, that's like crazy. Okay, so you're asking these questions, right? You're like, infinity, universe, God, whoever's up there, why? Was there anyone that you consider a mentor or somebody that you could go to talk to that could help guide you or give you advice or steer you in the right direction at that time?
Yeah, when I was 19, I found a mentor who, just out of the generosity of his being, it was his calling to mentor people, to teach, and he felt my hunger to learn. And he helped me process deeper feelings I'd collected from this life, and also would stare into my eyes and just ask me the question of, what do you care about? Why are you here on this planet? Tell me what excites you. And he would ask it constantly, put a lot of attention on me. I think that's what we need from a mentor, somebody that gives you their undivided attention for at least half an hour, so that we can feel special and awaken these codes that we have in our innermost being, which is our soul, which is this connection to higher self, infinity, the infinite intelligence around us.
I'm just like, it's just so funny. I'm laughing because you're like answering questions that I'm about to ask. I'm like, okay. But that's okay. That's interesting. There's something that you said that triggered a question for me that I wanted to ask you.
Mhm.
Um, mentorship. He gave you space. Um, oh my God. Give me like 10 seconds. It was so important. Usually I let things go, but this was like super important. Oh, I have to let it go. Wow. Oh my God. I don't know what it was, but it was a super important question. But we'll move on. We'll move on. So you had this guy, he came into your life. How did you meet him? Like, was it a chance?
I met him on this leadership cruise I went on. I joined this private leadership club. I had this other mentor that brought me into this private leadership club. And I had this feeling like I was looking for a very important, special kind of mentor. And I had this on my mind as I went on this 5-day cruise, which was only members that were listening to a certain amount of content that was about leadership and personal development. So the
Mhm.
energy was very high. There was a certain standard of consciousness of, we matter, we're important, versus this unconscious way we're raised in sometimes, where we think we don't matter and it's not much importance what we do. But this was a very high level club of, we matter and we care about this planet, and we care about how we carry ourselves and how we speak. And so there was a lot of training. And that's where I met this mentor at 3 a.m. on the side of the boat. It was such a high energy on this cruise that I only slept like 6 hours the entire 5 days, because my body, like, usually we sleep because we're tired, like we need to process a lot. But we're there, we were processing in these workshops that we were taking, and the energy was so clear and everybody's so positive, and we were fed with so much life left and right, that I didn't need to sleep that much. And I ended up meeting this mentor. He was eye gazing with this woman, and he was talking to her in a way where he was so focused. And I recognize now, based on my human design, which
Mhm.
is this whole concept of understanding our physiology and our ways that we are meant to succeed in our personal communication strategies. I need undivided attention, and I have a very penetrative aura, meaning I can zoom in on someone and understand them fully. And that's what I
Wow.
ideally need back. And that was the kind of mentor that I met.
This is the question, because like when you said you found this mentor, um, and he helped you find purpose, I was like, okay, that's not an easy thing to do, first and foremost. And I wanna ask, maybe it's a two-part question. One, what did you find through this mentor? What was your purpose? And do you feel like that purpose is something that is kind of set in stone, or is it something that is evolving? Yeah, I'll ask those two questions first.
Sure, I found these visions that became so clear of how I love being in very social environments and feeling very elevated, and just by communicating and interacting with the group and elevating the entire group, I would feel very happy. And that happiness would exponentially grow in the field. And so I saw these visions of festivals with music and art and healing and different techniques and being taught, a lot of education, children. It was like utopia on earth. And then I saw visions of myself speaking on stages to a lot of people, like hundreds and thousands of people, which I don't know how it's going to happen, but I saw glimpses of my future that kind of scared me, but I needed to be shocked alive because at the time I was very numb and depressed and was like under these layers of amnesia of, okay, I'm just this human. I was 19 going to school thinking I was just going to be this nutritionist when there was so much more that I needed to do in this life.
Mm, wow. Okay. So you have these visions. It's a little scary. Um, Now, is this something? Do you feel that you're living into your vision then? Because some people, I guess, some people have bigger purposes than others. I don't know how else to say it, but most people, when they find their purpose, it can range from anything from, maybe some people are happy in their 9 to 5 job, or they're happy being a stay-at-home mom or dad. Um, but your vision seems like it's not so, I guess, two-dimensional, three-dimensional. Like
Mhm.
there's different layers to it, and this isn't a, like, I don't want people to feel disrespected, because every position, every role is critical to this co-creative experience, right?
Mhm.
I often say the butterfly effect. It's always good to know and understand that without one element, like, this whole thing falls apart. So just for those people who are having those thoughts. But back to what you were saying. Yeah, do you feel like you're still living into your vision, or living into your
Yes.
almost destiny? What you're describing seems very like Woodstock level, and so, I mean, maybe not that big, but how do you feel about how that vision is unfolding? Do you feel like you're living into it, or what's your experience of that? It's pretty big.
Thank you for asking these questions because it's really coming into my awareness today. I think in preparation those for those visions, I needed to do certain amounts of training. Like I went and studied neurolinguistic programming, and then I went to higher levels where it was like learning to be a teacher of these technologies and communication and leadership. And that's where we learned presence and public speaking. And then I started leading group hypnotherapy sessions, and then I started to lead group ceremonies, and I got asked to facilitate at different events. And so then it was this building confidence to speak in front of people and be able to hold an energy. And then I went to LA to speak at a conference, and again it was a larger group. So that vision of hundreds of people, that's probably like 10 years down the road. And to lead up to
Mhm.
that, I need to work with a lot more people, grow in my personal maturity, grow in my neurology and my ability to hold that kind of power and presence to emit to a large group. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a question. Actually, it's so funny. Like, I'm starting to appreciate spiritual people like I haven't before. Maybe it's because I'm becoming more grounded. But as somebody who is spiritual, or who is aware of themselves on different levels, um, do you feel like do you ever feel like there is an energy that is too dense or too dark?
Mm.
And if you do, how do you navigate those types of energies?
Oh yeah, I've definitely dealt with very intense dark energies of my from myself and for others, because as a healer, I've gone through all the levels of Reiki initiation, which open up the psychic vision, which allow me to do
Mm.
energy healing from a distance, and different technology meditations where I can astral travel and see into higher realms and also understand what's happening behind the scenes of what we see in the news. And it can look very dark. And I had this psychedelic experience about 8 years ago where I was seeing very dark images for a while when I was even closing my eyes to meditate. And so I couldn't even meditate for a while until I learned how to project a lot of light and work with a lot of heavenly energies and calling upon a lot of archangels and being able to do certain rituals of purification and hold a certain amount of light in my field and command my aura and be able to energetically protect myself and understand different deities that may come and support, like Jesus, or from many lineages in the Buddhist traditions. And that gave me more power. And then I learned different techniques of invoking alchemical fire that would burn lower frequencies. So I have dealt with some darker, dense images and then visions. And then there's also just the feelings of the body of feeling very sad when I see there's a war happening in another part of the world, or seeing people close to me feeling very depressed or low, or feeling very emotionally manipulated by certain dynamics of life. And so I'm on that journey with them. I've learned how to psychically protect myself and stay strong and move emotions through my body, even in my own personal, intimate relations when I have my own needs and they're not met. How do I even deal with my own darkness, my own shadows of needing attention? And I think we're all narcissistic to some degree in this culture of social media with the things we post. And it really just comes from stepping out and being seen for our gifts. And so it's really a journey of self-worth and how we do it with grace. So again, it's turning these shadows of darkness and pain and neediness and suffering into grace and light and power and creative abilities. I love how you use the term creative so often, because we're creative as souls on this earth. That's what we do. We're creative.
Hmm. I love the way that you answered that question so gracefully. It's just so important. And I think part of why I even ask these questions is because I really want to communicate to people how important it is um, to have a spiritual side, but also be grounded and blend those two worlds together. And
Yeah.
so, thank you for answering that question so beautifully. Um, I actually want to really quickly dial back to something you said earlier in the conversation, so we can quickly talk about it, or maybe not so quick. But you said human design, and I'm just curious to know how much, like, just give us a little bit, just give us a little teaser into what human design is and how it affects your life. And then I have a few follow-up questions.
Okay. My mom got me into human design. She's been a consultant and studied it for the last 7 years. And so she knows all these gene keys, these expressions that come from how we came into this life and the date, the birthplace, our name. There's these algorithms that really give us these characteristics of our personality and predispositions. Like, it's very clear in my chart that I'm meant to be a writer. And in the times where I've been very lost, it's writing that's given me some direction. And I write a lot on social media, and I write very well for any types of business emails. And it's just my way of communicating very well. And you can see in different people's human designs what their strengths are. If somebody's more of a high level thinker, leader, or if somebody's more into detail and execution and planning and strategizing, or if somebody's got more mystical gates open. It's very fascinating, and I highly recommend everyone does a human design consultation with anyone that they can find.
Okay, so are you? I know this is this could be personal, but what was your human design? Because I also had my human design done, and I
Mhm.
have a question about that. But what was your human design?
Okay, I am a projector.
Okay.
I am a high level thinker. A lot of my centers are open because I take in the collective field and I process it in higher consciousness. And it's about evolving humanity. And so I express this through writing, through dancing, through speaking, through art, and my visionary abilities can be used in business. And I have very strong initiation impulses. I don't have the best completion strategies, and that's where I've now learned to partner up with people that can execute and complete tasks or hold me accountable to completing something, because I often have had a habit of starting a lot of ideas. Like ideas come through me and I can like start left and right. I've invested so much in different projects that haven't always been completed, because now I realize I need a lot of implementation strategies or teams to plug into with these ideas.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I mean, I'm sure that's not just your issue. I feel like creatives in general have that problem. Um, and even me myself, I'm starting to realize now that like it's so important to have a team of people or have like hubs of people. And I'm just now like connecting with different creative hubs and offering my creativity in that way. So how are you like balancing that? How are you like working with that? Like what are you doing to solve that in your own life is what I'm trying to say.
A lot of collaboration for every idea I have, even if it's getting more fitness in. I'll share with somebody in my life, and it's like, okay, we're going to go for a run or work out together, or we're going to dance together, or if it's some type of writing project, okay, I need support with getting this finished, or even just hold me to this vision. Or I work with my mom, who's really good with sales and business management. And so, where my skills in coaching and doing healing oracle work is very good with sales and business, I need somebody else to manage that for me. So I have my mom, or I have different people refer clients to me. And how else I manage that is I plug into different communities so that I can come in with my skills and be complete.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if this means anything to you, but I'm not sure if we have this conversation off camera. But I did my human design, and the person who did it was like, oh my god, like for some reason they were flabbergasted, and I just thought they were um, being nice for some reason. I don't know, but apparently I'm a splenic manifester. Does that mean anything? Like, what does that mean?
It means you're very good at manifesting, it's in there. And generally, you have the energy to execute very quickly. Like an idea comes through, you have a conversation about it, you can manifest it to completion. Um, I think with splenic, it's very strong impulses and make you act in the now. What else do you know
Mhm.
about your human design?
Well, I actually just pulled it up, and it's showing like the gates that are open. Um,
Okay. Yeah, so it shows where energy can flow and where you're defined in something. Like, for example, a friend of mine, she's very defined in her sexuality, and you can feel it when she comes into a room. She's got a strong sexual energy and she has her ways of operating. And then there's
mhm.
people that have more open centers and maybe don't even have enough energy in their sexuality, or if it's in their communication. Like some people are more quiet and shy because their communication gate is not fully open, but they have higher chakras open, which are these gates of receiving ideas, or they're really good at executing. And so maybe communicating with people they trust and feel very comfortable, and forming strong allies is good, or finding their niche where they have this strong impulse to speak that opens up a gate. It's
Yeah,
very
yeah,
scientific.
yeah, more scientific than I thought it was going to be. And I'm
Mhm.
just curious, and this is probably the last thing I'll say on this, but do you feel like, or do you think you can use human design to kind of guide how you connect with people? Because I was just having fun. Someone else I know did their human design, and we were just comparing our designs, and it was interesting to see like where the designs overlapped, and then it was interesting to see where the designs didn't overlap, and so it got me thinking like, is can you use human design as a way to figure out how to connect with people?
Yes, totally. I say a prayer to the universe, the intelligence field, to bring in people that I have synergy with. Like, I'm aware I don't have certain strengths. And so bring in people that have the strengths that I don't have. So we can complement each other. And what else do I want to say about that? Ask me the question again.
Yeah, I was just like, it just came into my mind to look at human designs and compare it with people. So
Right.
like, let's say your friend, for example, right? Let's say her sexual energy is, she's very charged sexually, right?
Mhm.
Now I'm thinking about how cool would it be if she connected with someone, right, who had maybe something that she was missing on one of her gates, and
Mhm.
maybe that person's sexual gate was closed, but hers was open. So I'm
Yes.
like, would that be a good connection? Like, is that a good way to think? I'm just like curious to know, like, if these gates can really tell us how to connect with people, or if it's even worth pursuing.
Totally. And this is great for partners. My mom does this for a lot of female clients that come to her that are married, that are struggling in communication with their husbands, and they've been together for many years. And then my mom will do her chart, his chart, and put them into the system together and see, oh, okay, well, your husband has these tendencies. He's very much like in his cave, needs to be in his man cave. He processes on his own, so he doesn't always need to communicate with you, but you're expecting him to communicate things with you. That's how you feel emotionally secure. And so it's really great for couples to understand each other's ways of operating.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's done this for me for different people that I've dated, and it's actually really helped me.
See, but what I'm curious, would it have been helpful if you did this before? Like, do you think that it could have helped you kind of understand how to move forward with that particular partner? Or
Yeah,
even if that connection was even worth pursuing?
right. Yeah, totally. Like, she did it for me with someone recently that I've been interested in. And I saw, based on our human designs, that there's a lot of compatibility. And it
Uh-huh.
made me forgive the little things that I'm not happy about, or like I can see what his potential is. And
Mm.
it's like, okay, this is what he needs help with. This is how I can support him, or this is how he can support me.
Yeah, so you're answering the question.
Yes. It's
I think that
really good.
that's
I highly
absolutely.
recommend it for people. It would save so much time and money, because sometimes people feel this strong attraction. They just need to learn how to communicate better. And then they may have a lot of fights or disagreements or miscommunications, and then want to see a therapist, and therapists cost a lot of money, when you can just right away start with a human design consultation for the both of you and be like, okay, I know what you're like. I know what you're like. I know what you need. Let's just do our best here.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. So I'm curious, did your mom do the design for him like in their own session?
No, I just gave her his birthday.
Oh, so you're being all secretive. You gotta connect the dots. You gotta connect, you gotta bring him in. Because
I
to me,
should. I mentioned it to him, but not everybody's into astrology and all of this, you know?
well, it's
Um,
scientific. It's
it's
scientific
true.
enough. I know what you're saying because it's like I feel like people are generally a mix of left brain or right brain. And it's like either you're creative and what we're talking about right now is like on point, or you're analytic and it's like they're like spirits, fairies. Like, what are you talking about? It's confusing. But with human design, what I did notice was that there was an element of both. So I felt like the analytical side of me, the scientific side of me was very happy and pleased with how the information was laid out. And then the creative side of me was like, oh my God, like this is so cool. Like this is so intuitive and it just seems to work.
Yeah,
So it's like, I just can't imagine the possibilities of what could happen if you all sit down together and just like map it out. Like, this
right.
is how I want to support you. This is how I want you to support me. Look at this. Your gate's open. My gate's closed over here. I
Yes.
just think that, I don't know. I think the potential is limitless, to be honest. But
Absolutely. It needs to become more normal. I think sometimes when people get to know each other in the dating process, it's so awkward. Like you can't look too interested or too eager. And there's like these little bits of games, or like if there's been past relationship traumas, there's all these
mm,
guards up, and it's like uh you gotta play this ninja game of like, okay, how do I get in here? Okay, how do I feel into their heart? And oh my God, I'm not feeling secure enough, so let me just hide away for a few days.
mm.
So I think there needs to be more openness from the
Yeah.
start.
Why do you think we do that? I actually want to talk about that for a second because I experience it so often with friends and family and pretty much everywhere. But I have conversations about it all the time about like this lack of vulnerability and the games that we play in relationships. And it's like I ask myself all the time, why can't we just be vulnerable? Like, isn't that the point of relationships?
Right. Yeah. Oh, it's this feeling of what will they think, and what if they don't like it, and what if they don't want to be with me anymore? What if they're annoyed by me? Like I'm very empathic and psychic, and so it's like I can feel their initial thoughts, because sometimes we just need to process something and then be open to it. Like I notice where I'm scared to say something. Like I've been through many dating processes. I've dated to the point where I felt married to whoever I was with. I consider myself a veteran in the dating experience. And yet in this one right now where I'm dating, it's like I notice myself still being kind of shy and like hesitant to say everything I want to say because of their response, their reaction to it. And I recognize this even as I'm speaking, just to like go full out. It's okay to make a mess in the process of feelings and then talk it out.
Yes. Yes. Now I'm realizing why I asked this question. Because what you just said is so true. It's like, it's the same in the creative world too, right? You want to create something, you're birthing something, and then you get these thoughts of, I don't know how this is going to come across. I don't know if people are going to accept it. I don't know. I don't know. All these I don't knows, right?
Mhm.
And then you, well, hopefully you get to the point where you go, yeah, I need to do this. I need to bare my soul. I need to be completely vulnerable. I need to surrender to this.
Mhm.
And yeah, I feel like it's the same in relationships where it's like if you don't do that, you're not even really relating with the person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've been there. I'm not above this. Like it's like pretty much every relationship I've been in, there's always a little piece of you that you're like, not yet, not yet.
Mhm.
Oh my
Ah,
god.
if only it needs to be smoother. And then I always wish we had more clarity around the dating experience, where
Mhm,
it's
mhm.
like, this is the time that you're going to get married, or this is who the person will likely be. Because there's way too much heartbreak and chaos
Mm.
in the dating experience currently. Like that all needs to just be wiped away. Cupid just needs to leave the planet, because this whole like shooting arrows and testing out the waters here and there, an emotional battlefield. That's love and romance that's supposed to be the greatest glory on this earth, I believe, with so much beauty and grace and trust and radical expression of art and enjoyment of each other. And it needs to be more organized, I feel like. this concept of twin flames has made things a little confusing. And we've been dating with just testing out, is this the right person? No, it's not. But then people stay in it longer because they get codependent. So
Mhm.
I don't know. What do you think is the solution here? What do you think is needed to have more fun and love and romance?
Okay. I have an answer, but I don't think people will like it.
I want to hear it.
um, I feel the answer is, and we're all unique, we all have unique perspectives. So this is a perspective, take it or leave it. My perspective on this is, um, like I was saying earlier, it's a very simple solution, but it's not easy. But it's being radically vulnerable. And what I mean by that is because people will take that and it'll go over their heads because it's
Mhm,
very general. But what I really mean by that is like you have to wear your heart on your sleeve. And
mhm,
most people, and for me for a long time, I didn't even want to do that. And it's just really recently over the last couple of years where I've stepped into the space of understanding if I don't do that, then I'm actually wasting my time.
mhm.
But wearing your heart on your sleeve means, your partner can see all of you. That's the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Right.
And there's this really beautiful quote that I saw online. Um, I think it was a Facebook meme.
Mhm.
Something about, give me a second. I want to see if I can find it. And no, I couldn't find it in the 10 seconds. So the quote went something like this. Um, we can't be together unless our devils can dance together. Something along those lines.
Ooh, I like that.
And right, I was like, it sat with me, and I'm like, okay, what's the person saying? And then I realized, okay, it's what are the things that we don't like about ourselves? What's the dark side of our soul, right? And can that darkness dance with the darkness of the person that you're being in communion with? And that just changed how I think about relationships in general because it's like most people they me let me just use myself as an example. Me in my early years, I was looking for, okay, who's the most beautiful, who's who's the most physically appealing,
Mhm,
right? Who has the most juicy energy,
mhm.
and then it's like those are beautiful things, and I think that should be part of the equation. But then it's like that's just not what being human is about. Being human means there are going to be days where that person is down. There's going to be days where that person is, you know, leveling up, and leveling up looks like fighting your own demons, and so you have to be able to hold space for that person to do that, without judgment. And so that I feel is a part of relationships that is not talked about. It's
Right.
it's all the we've been Disneyed. We've
Yeah.
all been Disneyed.
Uh-huh.
So we have to just look at the other side. You know what story I really loved? Oh
Mhm.
my god, it's funny because at the beginning of this conversation I said Beauty and the Beast in my mind for some random reason, but Beauty and the Beast was the realest Disney story of all time because it was
True.
like there was love there, and she loved him even though he was a beast, and it's like
Yes.
that is the truth of love right there. It's like he was an amazing man, right? He had all these things. He was obviously wealthy. He had everything, but she had to love him beyond the dark side of him, which was the beastly figure. And
Mhm.
I always thought like that to me is what love is about, and relationships, right? So I hope that answers your question. I don't want to rant too long.
No, it makes a ton of sense. Exactly. That's very real. Very real. And like as we grow and mature, we become more refined. Like who I was 10 years ago in my dating experience is kind of immature compared to where I am now and how I can hold my emotions and state and
Mm,
think for them and myself and the community. I now recognize that those primary romantic relationships are meant to really empower each other and
mm,
overflow with love to feed a whole tribe. I
mm,
think sometimes people get into a relationship so it's like they can please and pleasure each other and like have these little date nights, and it just keeps it at this level versus like what's pulling us into higher God, goddess awareness, and
Mhm.
who are we involved with and connected with, and all this juicy love making. What is that birthing in the world?
Mhm. Yeah, and I agree with you, but I also want to say some some people may be satisfied with that, and that may be, you know, I hate that we view things in hierarchies, because then people go, well, if you like that, doesn't mean it's better, and it's like there is no better or
True.
more or less. But I feel like, you know, for you, because you're an expansive woman, that you embody that. But
Mhm.
I don't know if everybody is meant to be that embodied. You know
True.
what I mean? Like when I
Yeah.
look around this world, it's like I feel like the reason it works is because we're all not the same,
Mhm.
right? And I do imagine, and maybe you can answer this question. I do imagine a world where, you know, we're all tapped in, we're all realizing that there's more to this world than just, you know, cars and mansions.
Yeah.
And it makes me think, like, how do we get there? So my question to you is, do you think that we'll get there, wherever there is in your mind, in our lifetime, or is this something that you think will happen over hundreds of years, thousands of years?
Get where exactly?
Like to this, like, I guess you could call it, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? It's right there.
Evolved, mature.
You know, when the world is just completely beautiful, there's a specific word. It's like
Utopia,
literally
utopian.
utopian world. Yes.
Yes, yes, I believe in it. I believe the people of our tribe have reached that state of utopia at all these different gatherings we've been going to for years. Like, it's utopia. The music is beautiful, the art is beautiful, everybody is in a fairly good state, well mannered, respectful of each other, very utopian. And anybody that is practicing conscious eye gazing or tantra or breath work in their romantic partnership, or going to a yoga class, or doing some sort of spiritual invocation, prayer, has living personally in that utopia and wanting it to be outside of them as well. So we hold these blueprints of utopia that we must keep projecting. And then we get called into acts of service. For example, your podcast is an act of service to share your visions and blueprints of utopia. And everybody that you select is evolved to a certain standard of love, respect, and kindness and service to humanity. And now we're just imprinting as much of this blueprint as possible through different media platforms, through gatherings, through conversations. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, okay. So I have one more question for you,
Mhm.
because obviously this conversation could just keep going. But before I ask you the final question, I just want you to really quickly plug anything you'd like to plug, like um, any creative things that you have going on. Where can people find you? I will also tag all your social medias below, but I just thought I'd give you a few seconds to talk about anything you want to put out there.
Sure. I work one-on-one mainly with people through different coaching modalities, empowering them into their higher states of understanding and problem solving and strategy building and creative visualization and thinking optimally. And that can be done even just one booster session or a few sessions to make a project happen or make a lifestyle fully realized. And then in Toronto locally, I can be found at different events. Follow me on social media, Supernatural Woman, super.natural woman. And I post a lot of interesting art and resources and pieces of wisdom. I host these power up sessions that are mental, emotional, physical, spiritual fitness. So we're resilient and creative, and these are group sessions. I host them currently in private groups, but I'll be doing them more generally.
Mm-hmm.
And people can find me also at katie.net.
Oh, beautiful. You got a .net domain.
Ooh, network.
.net, of course, because you're always networking.
Yes.
Like Katie?
Keidi.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're Katie. Oh, I love how your mom decided to spell that.
Thank you.
Gorgeous.
It's my parent names combined, and it wasn't even fully conscious. It was like my soul was like, oh, my dad's name, my mom's name combined.
You're so nice. Like a little bit of both. A little bit of both. Everybody's happy. Everybody's happy.
Yeah, and my identity has been so woven with my parents, and sometimes that's been very difficult because I'm feeling very often unique, different from my family. At the same time, it's weaving my understanding of life with
Mm,
theirs and supporting them as they support me. So I'm very close with family. I really believe in being as healthy and as close with our family relatives as possible, even
mhm.
just as much as having just peace. No bad thoughts, no negative karma, no judgments, just peace.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Mm.
I'm actually on your website right now and I'm looking at a beautiful video. I didn't realize I was at an event years ago
Yeah,
that
you
you
made that
hosted.
video, and that video has stayed with me for years. It's been the main showcase of my work.
I did this video. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh
Wow,
my
I almost
God.
forgot too. Thank you. We
I'm
go
like,
way back. Wow.
yeah, I'm just realizing that now. Like, yeah, we go way back.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
my God. I'm looking at
years
this. I'm
ago.
like, I gotta redo this for you. You know when you're like an artist and like a decade goes by and you get so much better and you're like, oh no, I need to tweak this. But anyways,
You did a great one. It's been the main showcase of my work that people have seen and have felt like they want to work with me.
mm, yeah,
Thank
because
you.
your heart can be felt
Thank
through this
you.
video still. Beautiful. Okay, final question, and I'm gonna let you go.
Okay.
Um, I'm almost afraid to ask you this.
Oh my God, I'm ready for it. I'm excited.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask the question in multiple different ways, and you just answer the one that like strikes at your heart, or you can answer them all. Okay, so what is infinity? What is infinity? How does infinity feel? How does infinity show up in your life? What is infinity?
Infinity. Wow. Well, it's infinite amounts of dreams and energy that can come through. Just the way my life has progressed with plans, ideas that were beyond my comprehension, like the synchronicities, the people. It's really this infinite intelligence that's saying, be here, Katie, meet this person, make this happen. And it's infinite amounts of possibilities. And it's very exciting and scary because it's just unpredictable at times what can happen. Always, I say it's good, it helps us grow. And it's exhilarating when we connect it with our breath and our ability to expand into the infinite. It produces these psychedelic states, really, these natural highs of wow. Yeah.
Okay, infinity. I love it. Well, thank you so much for blessing my podcast. I appreciate you coming on and bringing your beautiful energy. Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching. Take care. Peace. Stay blessed. Have a beautiful day, week, month, year, life. Peace, everyone.
Thank